Samantha from Jessima Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create a cute little autumn pendant. So we're going to be using one of my Polymer Clay texture stamps, and let me just adjust the camera, there we go. One of my Polymer Clay texture stamps. This is one of my dead tree texture stamps, and I'm just going to take a brush and I'm just going to pop a little bit of cornstarch in there, just to make sure that it doesn't stick. There we go, like so. And then I'll also just use the scrap cornstarch, and I'll get some on my clay as well. Okay, and you really don't need a lot. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that down over the top, and then I'm just going to press this into place. You can use your acrylic roller if you want. I prefer to use my fingers just so that I know that I've got everything, and also so that the clay does not stick to the acrylic roller. I did put cornstarch on the back because of that, so it doesn't stick to my fingers or the roller. So you can use your roller if you want, but I find I get a better impression by just using my fingers. And also you can go back over with your fingers. If you roll over and over again with the roller, you generally get a ghost image, so you need to be able to get it in one go with the roller if you're planning on doing that. Okay, then we should be able to just lift that straight out. And there we go, you can see we've got a nice impression there. Okay, and I don't want to waste clay. You can mix the cornstarch straight back into the clay, that's no problem. So I'm just going to take one of my dragon scale cutters, and I'm just going to cut out the shape of my pendant now so that I don't end up wasting this clay. Okay, there we go. Then I'm just going to grab a brush and I'm going to dust off the excess cornstarch. And that's pretty easy to do, just dust that off. You can do the same on the back. There we go. Okay, then I'm just going to bring over some little, I guess you could call these chameleon pastes. I sell them on my Etsy store. They're basically like colour changing mica powders, except they're in the same, they're kind of in a paste, so they're kind of a mix between gildas paste and mica powder. And I've got a few different types here. You can also use mica powder, but I want to try to get this mostly on the branches today. Whoops. This is a little oily because I have put oil in my gildas paste jars and it's leaked over onto these ones. There we go. Okay, and I open up the other one as well. There we go. And we probably aren't even going to need these because we've got enough in the lids. This goes a really long way. So we just bring those over. And I am going to start with this kind of red coloured paste. I'm just going to brush that over the surface. Just a little bit. And I am getting some on the background, but I'm trying to get mostly on the branches. Okay. And I quite like how that's looking. There we go. Okay, and there we go. And you can see there how it shifts colour quite nicely. Now I want to tend to the back, so I'm just going to put this to the side, and I'm going to bring over another piece of clay that has been rolled out on the thinnest setting that I can get it on my pasta machine. And I'm going to bring over a silkscreen. Any silkscreen that you like will work for this. I'm using this one. Then I'm going to bring over some copper and some gold paint. I'm just going to spot that around. Okay. And I'll do the same with the gold. Just swap that around. And I'll bring over my little squidgy thing. And I'll just run that over the surface like so. Now I don't want to mix it too much. There we go. Get rid of all the excess paint. And lift that up. And just go clean your silkscreen. There we go. Then I'll just lift that up off the tile. And I'm just going to put this to the side to dry. And just clean off your tile. Okay, now I really do quite like how that turned out, so I'm going to just bring this over, and I am going to use that previous one that we just did for our backing, but I also want to cut out a middle from here, so let's see, bring over this one. And I'm going to find the middle point. Okay, and I've just got this one around because it always helps me eyeball it better so that I know that I've got it in the middle. Yeah, just cut that out. There we go. And it also helps keep it in shape. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to put that to the side. Bring this over. And I'm going to take this exact same piece here and I'm going to choose a nice spot. Difficult thing is I like all of it. Let me see. Okay, so this is what I need for the backing. So I can't use that. So I think I'm going to cut over here. Because I quite like that spot. And I'll cut here. I'll just use my blade to pick it up. There we go. And pick this one up too, like so. Clean that up, like so. Okay, so just ignore that I cut out the big piece. I realised that I cut it out the wrong way. I was supposed to cut it from the black side up, not the silkscreen side up, so I just burnished it back into the silkscreen piece, so you can see there vaguely the shape of it. I burnished it back into place. So just ignore that. Imagine that I didn't do that. I'm gonna put this one in first. Lightly tap that down. Then bring this one over. Stretch that over the piece. There we go. I'm actually just going to use a piece of paper to just gently burnish the inside piece. Just because I do have some fingerprints on there, and then I'll also just use this to press down so that I don't get any fingerprints as well. There we go. Then we're going to bring over our cutter and we're going to cut like so, pressing down nice and firmly. Okay, lift that up, and then I'll just go around the edges and just quickly tap in any fuzzy parts that might be there. And that's not necessary, you can sand it off later if you want. Okay. Or you can run your finger around and clean it up now. That will work too. And there we go, that's our back. Okay, so I'm just going to bring over the paper again, and I'll just bake it on the paper, and then once it has baked for a full hour at Primrose recommend temperature, we can give it a sand if needed, and we can apply some resin to it. Okay, so it's out of the oven, and I'm pretty happy with it. So now I am going to apply some resin, and I'm going to be using some of Lisa Pavelka's Magic Gloss. You can use any UV resin you want. And I'm just going to apply the resin. You're going to want to put this into the UV light for about 15 minutes just to make sure that it is properly cured, nice and hard to the touch. Just going to apply the resin slowly, and the resin will really bring out that metallic sparkle. Okay, and I'm just going to use this to gently pop it along the edges. And you might notice that this resin's a little bit stiff or sticky. The reason for that is because it is quite cold, so yours might not be this thick when you use it. Just keep that in mind. And I'm just going to spread it to the edges like so, then I'll pop it in the UV lamp for about 15 minutes to cure, and then we can move on to assembly. Okay, and here it looks out of the UV light. So now we are going to just drill a hole at the top. So I'm actually going to flip it onto the back. Actually no, I'll do it from the front, because you should always drill through the resin side first, otherwise sometimes you do get you have the resin lift up off of the piece as you drill through the back side, so always drill from the resin side first. There we go. And we're almost through, and I'm using an automatic push drill here. There we go. And then I'm coming through the other side, and so I'm going to go back through there, and that will leave us with a neater hole. There we go. Okay, then I'm just going to grab this jump ring that I have here. And we'll slip that through. There we go. And I'm actually going to be using a toggle clasp as our bail of sorts. Just try to close that properly. Now I'll just slide that back in. Okay, and I'm going to bring over 2 cords. Actually no, I'm just going to use the one, and I'm going to loop that through. Now the question is, do I want it sitting like that? I'm going to work with this for a moment. Okay, so I was just deciding how I wanted the cord to look. So I'm just going to grab the loop, I'm going to pop it through, fold it over like so, and then tighten that, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to grab this, grab the loop, pop it through, just tighten it on the other side. Okay, and then on each end we're going to want to just straightening it out. There we go. I'm just making sure that it's equal. So if we need to trim off any excess, we can. There we go. Then I've got a cord end. Just making sure that this isn't tied up with one another. No, it's not. Okay. So I've got a cord in here. Just take that and flatten out each side like so. Repeat on the other end. Okay, then once you've done both ends, then I'm just going to grab a jump ring. We're going to open that, pop that onto your cord end and grab part of your clasp and attach it, and again repeat on the other end. Okay, and there we go. So that's how I've decided to string this pendant. You can of course make a polymer clay bail for the back if you want. You could use a normal bail in here instead of the toggle clasp. I just thought that that was interesting. There's lots of ways that you can choose to string this. I just thought it would be interesting to show it this way. So if you enjoyed the tutorial, please do let me know in the comments below. Keep in mind that you can use any silkscreen, any stamp that you want. You can also use different mica powders and different acrylic paints colours. There's lots of ways that you can play around with this design. So if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.